Hey guys, welcome to my tutorial on how to play Lorcana. Lorcana is a multiplayer game that can be played by 2 or more players. Before we talk about gameplay, let's talk about how to get started with your first deck. At the time this video was made, there are 3 pre-constructed 60-card decks that are ready to go straight out of the box, and additionally include a single booster pack the player can choose to add or switch out certain cards for personalization. If players do not wish to take this route and simply want to assemble their own 60-card deck, that is perfectly fine, but there are some rules when assembling your own deck. Decks must contain a minimum of 60 cards and have no maximum limit. They may only contain cards from 1 to 2 colors of ink. There are 6 distinct ink colors. Those colors are Amber, Amethyst, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and Steel. Amber is devoted to effects that heal, protect other cards by card abilities like Bodyguard, and cards that assist other characters collectively on the board. Amethyst focuses on card draw and delaying your opponent's game progression by any means. Emerald centers around drawbacks like cards being returned to hand, discard, and game control. Ruby emphasizes progressing the game as fast as possible to gain a steady lead in character removal. Sapphire develops your inkwell quickly to cast higher costing cards earlier and delivers more options to solve problems that can develop during the game. Finally, Steel focuses on intimidating the opponent through damage or banishing characters and additionally functions well with its bodyguard mechanic. Combining these colors in each deck provides a significant difference in gameplay and can be crafted to fit its pilot's needs. Changing cards in your deck to fit your playstyle is recommended. A key thing to remember when assembling your deck is that you may only have a maximum of 4 of each individual card in this deck. For example, you may have only 4 copies of Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, but you may still have 4 copies of Tinkerbell Tiny Tactician. Even though they share the same character name, they have different subtypes. Each card is unique in its own way, varying by its cost, inkwell, name, classification, ink color, strength, willpower, and lore value. Following this guide assists us in understanding card layout and how the card is read and understood. Feel free to pause the video at any time to have a more in-depth look at this diagram. Now that we have a grasp on identifying cards and how decks are constructed, let's get to how the game runs. Each game starts with both players either flipping a coin or rolling dice to decide who goes first. Each player then draws 7 cards and may remove any number of unwanted cards and place them onto the bottom of their library. The player then draws cards equal to the difference put onto the bottom of the deck and shuffles the deck. Remember, your hand cannot be revealed to your opponent unless a card effect states otherwise. Each turn starts with 3 phases: ready, set, and draw. During the ready phase, the active player untaps all exerted cards on the board unless a card effect states otherwise. In the set phase, any card effects take place that are triggered by the beginning of turn by any cards on the board. Draw is where the active player draws a card from the top of their deck. Remember, the only time a player doesn't draw a card during this phase is when it's turn 1 and you are the first active player of the game. During the first turn, the only player to draw a card is the secondary player who did not begin the game and when they are the active player. During the main phase of the game, a player may place an inkable card into their inkwell, play characters, items, actions, quest, and challenge. A player may only place 1 inkable card into their inkwell per turn. An inkable card is denoted by the top left-hand corner's inkwell icon. The player reveals the card being put into their inkwell to their opponent and places the card face down in the ready or untapped position. The players may use this ink by tapping the inkwell cards sideways or officially exerting them to cast creatures, items, or actions. A card's cost is the number found at the top left-hand corner of the card, and that many inkwell cards must be exerted to play that card. Some cards, such as songs, a subtype of actions, may be cast by tapping a character that did not enter the field on the same turn. There are 3 card types you may play during your turn. These types can be categorized by characters, items, and actions. Characters may have effects when played or tapped. As of the making of this video, there are no effects that can be activated without exerting a character. Characters that enter the battlefield may not be exerted to activate abilities, challenge, or quest on the same turn they were played. Characters remain on the board until removed by challenging or other card effects that cause their willpower to drop to 0. Remember, any damage placed on a character remains there for the rest of the game until the character is either banished or the damage is removed by card effects. Items are cards that remain on the field and may exert themselves to activate abilities. Each card is different and gives guidelines on their effects. Items, however, are different from characters in the fact that they may still exert themselves to activate abilities on the same turn they were played. Actions are cards that do not remain on the field, but provide temporary effects to manipulate the board state and are placed in the discard area on your board after their effects are resolved. Remember, each card is different, and all effects and abilities are explained on the card, so be mindful that when playing any card, the text will elaborate on how the card functions. Playing characters, inkwell cards, items, actions, challenging, and questing may be done in any order and more than once and is a large part of how the game is played. In order to win, a player must be the first to reach 20 lore. Lore is acquired by characters exerting themselves to quest, adding the number of lore icons denoted to the right of the card's text box. However, by exerting the character, they are then susceptible to being challenged by an opponent's opposing character. As of the making of this video, characters cannot be challenged when they are in the ready position. When a character is exerted, you must declare your intent with the character, whether it's activating an ability, questing, or challenging. When a character is challenged, and whenever you are the challenger, the character you control is exerted. You can only challenge an exerted character your opponent controls. In the challenge, players will compare each other's character's strength and willpower, denoted in the middle right-hand side of the card. For example, if my Aladdin Cornered Swordsman challenges an opponent's Aladdin Cornered Swordsman, both characters will be banished, since they both deal 2 damage identified by their strength, and each character's willpower will drop to 0 because of this. When a character is banished, they will then be placed in their owner's discard area. If in place of Aladdin, we use Mickey Mouse Steamboat Captain to challenge our opponent's Aladdin, our Mickey will still survive the encounter and banish the opponent's Aladdin, but will still take 2 damage as a result. Be sure to have a method to denote damage, favorably using dice to make sure the game state is fluid. However, if my opponent also has a Mickey Steamboat Captain, and I challenge it with mine, both cards survive the encounter and take 3 damage as a result. Remember, damage only affects willpower. Strength is unaffected by damage counters. After you've exhausted any options you would like to take during your turn, you pass the turn to the opposing player. In the event that a player cannot complete the draw phase and have no cards remaining in their library, that player loses the game. Hopefully this guide helps you understand how to play Lorcana and gives you the knowledge you need for your games to run smoothly. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, it really helps out the channel. Until next time, this is Dargonflyy. Thanks for watching.